Hello, hello. Welcome to episode 42 of Wise Wednesdays with RK. Topic of conversation today is everyone is a leader. And what a beautiful day to actually hold this conversation where the world looks forward to a new leadership altogether. And we kind of had to delay our conversation for the purpose of that. Dr. Mariam Ketait is my guest today. She is an entrepreneur. She is a solution strategist, a beautiful inflow speaker, and the co-founder of Ebb and Flow Global. And a beautiful person, a mentor. And let me not take more of your time and just bring her on board and share this amazing conversation with you. Welcome, Dr. Mariam. Thank you so much for saying yes. I know you've had a long day, and I just am so grateful for this time with you today for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Raqaya. It's indeed a pleasure to connect with you again and with your audience.
Thank you. So, and in all the excitement of bringing you on board, I forgot to play the strip. So let's do that right now, because for those of you who are joining for the first time in the conversation, you should know the story behind why these interviews started. Wise Wednesdays started on April 1st with a humble episode on forgiveness. Between then and now, we've had heart-led conversations on happiness, stress management, relationships, resilience, public speaking, respecting boundaries, self-discovery, mindset, just being, listening, reclaiming your life, intuition, and even food. I would like to thank all my listeners and the guests who gave me their time and trust. It is because of you that we kept going. It is because of you that we kept growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so, so much. And welcome. So tell me, when I asked you, what would you like to speak on? You instantly knew that it was everyone is a leader. Why? What is it about this topic that resonates so strongly with you?
Um, I guess starting off my in my journey, every person I met, whether it was people I mentored or even just clients, when I was seeing patients in the clinic, I used to see a difference in how people deal with their lives and how they take the lead. So whether it's your healthcare or a life decision, or whether you went through something difficult, how you overcome it, and also how you deal with it. It's about you being a leader and taking kind of the reign and stepping into that power center of yours that says, you know what, it's my life and I'm going to take the lead. And everyone has access to that. So just by observation in the beginning, I was always keen on seeing people transform their lives. That's kind of the essence of what I do, is helping people transform, whether it's with their health or well-being or other stuff. But the reason I wanted to talk about leadership is because sometimes people think of it as, a trait outside of themselves, or it's selected for, like the political leaders, or the organization boards of like board members and stuff like that. However, it is you and your life, and you can be a leader of that.
True that, true that. And I do agree with you. Very often people look at leadership as, something outside of themselves. And they feel like, no, I'm not a leader. The other person is, or I don't have those traits to kind of lead somebody. But everybody does. And everybody, if it's not leading somebody else, it is also taking ownership of your own life, which is also a form of leadership, I believe. What are your thoughts on that?
That's true. I work a lot with yoga and with meditation, and we always talk about your power center, your solar plexus, and it has to do with you really stepping into your power, your own personal power. This means taking charge of the food you eat, the way you move your body, the thoughts you put in your head, the words you say. It's it's all interconnected. Everything you do has to do with you really taking charge of it and saying, I'm not going to go on autopilot. I'm going, or with whatever anyone else. Because if you don't lead your life, you're going to be led. And you're going to be led into things that might not be a contribution to your truth, to your story, to your values, to your vision. So I think it's a choice and it's a decision that people make. And it doesn't have to be, a very hard decision. Like, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to wake up every day at 5 a.m. I don't know if you're part of the 5 a.m.
5
club.
a.m. club. Yes, yes. I know a couple of people who are.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who are in the 5 a.m. club. Good for them. But, it's also about you listening to your body and then saying, for me, right now, I'm going to take the lead and wake up half an hour early to meditate or to pray or to do whatever. But it's not about forcing yourself. So making sure that it's also nurturing. And I think that's something that we're going to be observing more of. So as you mentioned, we were delayed because of the inauguration and what's happening in the United States. And Joe Biden was saying a lot. His messaging is a lot about healing, America healing, and also healing the divide and the separateness. And being separate from other people is actually you being separate from yourself. And one of the reasons people get separate from themselves is because they're too harsh on themselves, or they're too hard on themselves. So they don't feel that love and nurture within.
And he was also talking about walking in the other person's shoes, as his mom says. I love that. It's so important to understand and come from a place of empathy and not just feeling sympathy for somebody or just feeling disconnected with another's pain. And I think the times that we are in have really taught us that. So if you find out about someone who's probably going through, it has tested COVID positive, as much as we do want to distance ourselves, we also want to kind of connect with them and let them know that they're not alone. They're distant, but they're not alone. So I think all of these things do make a difference.
This topic of medical isolation is very interesting for me, specifically because I always used to read about how it was done in the past, like 100 years ago. It was very harsh also, like
Right.
or even before that, people who were sick were taken to the desert, and just to stay there. So the idea was not to infect other people. Also,
Right.
it's kind of like, I remember on my TEDx talk, I spoke about gangrene, like my first patient in the hospital, we had to cut off his leg. And that was very harsh for me to see. And usually it's this connection, when you have to separate someone out of a system because they reached a level of illness. Sometimes it's stuff that as a collective you have to do to preserve yourself, but we need to come to a place where we have enough prevention methods for that person to be included. And again, with Biden's speech, he talked about inclusion. So if you want to include people, they need to be wearing the mask in this situation, in COVID. They need to wear the mask. They need to take precautions. You need to have like this general empathy can be practiced here by really putting yourself in another person's shoes and saying, if that person gets sick, they might die, right? So out of love, I am actually taking precautions and I'm getting tested. I'm doing whatever it is.
True. So we have Yasin watching on LinkedIn. Yasin, hi. It's just that when I reply back to you on comments, for whatever reason, StreamYard doesn't let my comment come through. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, you would be receiving my reply. Thank you for tuning in. He says hi, RK and NK. How are you guys doing today? Rukaya, you're rocking. Keep it up. Mental stability is required. Health is wealth, is what he adds. So tell me a little bit about mental stability and how important is that in the conversation of leadership today?
Mm-hmm. Another interesting topic. So, like, just observing last week's events in the States in the last few weeks, and the way the leadership handled it, I guess especially if you are in a leadership position. I'm going to talk about it if you're in a leadership position, and then also on an individual level. So I feel
Yes.
when you're in a leadership position, you have to be aware first and foremost of where you are. Your mental well-being comes first, because
Yes.
if you are out of balance, then you can make decisions that can impact a lot of people negatively, and that's like a huge set of karma and a huge set of things that you don't want to ignite. And even
Correct.
on an individual level, I think it's us building that your relationship with your mental body, with your mental health, is just like any other relationship. It needs work. You kind of have to invest in it. So if you observe your thoughts, and you start by the little steps of observing your thoughts, journaling your emotions, being able to recognize when something triggers your mind. So creating anger, creating finding that connection between your mind and your emotions, really investing time and energy in that helps you become a better leader in your life or on a bigger scale.
Absolutely. So tell me, you're a medical doctor, and then you're on this journey of leadership yourself. Would you call that a transition?
Um, so when I started the integrative health practice, I had to sort of take the lead and create a center, open up my own space. I had to become an entrepreneur. I was not equipped with the tools in the beginning, but I took the lead in that. So I kind of researched it. I went to all those conferences about small businesses and bigger businesses, and kind of connected with other women and other entrepreneurs around the world and learned from them. So it was a learning journey, and I think um, stepping into leadership from an entrepreneurial perspective, it still, of course, has its challenges. And every day you have to kind of learn more and grow more and take whatever comes your way as an opportunity of growth. So I started off with my center. Of course, first I started with my clients, and then that built into a center, and then that developed into sort of a design concept where we design solutions now. And I have a team. You asked me if I'm the founder of Flow Global, so it started off with me being the founder. Now I have a partner, so we connect together and create solutions for people.
Super. Tell us more about ebb and flow.
Um, so ebb and flow is like the tides. I really love to connect with the water element and with the sea. The ups and downs in life, they will continue to come, just like the waves. When we teach people meditation, or when we teach them different tools to help them create the life that they desire, it does not mean that the life is going to be calm and peaceful all the time. No, it just means that you will have the tools to ride the wave, to surf, to manage the ebb and flow. And from there, so that started off with a series of sessions, whether it's theta healing, or I practice something called Phoenix practitioners, and it's very emotional. So it's about you also embodying your emotions, and of course yoga and all the other stuff that I do. But it then developed into a design concept where we design solutions for spaces. So with furniture, with little tools that you can embed in your life that can help you um, feel harmonious with and balance with yourself and with others.
Okay, that's awesome. And speaking of design and furniture, I remember your chair, the
Yeah.
one that literally takes you on the waves, the sails. It's so beautiful. I've experienced it firsthand during the Happiness Carnival. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh, Tell us about that
The
and the
chair.
car itself.
The chair is called Arroweha, and it's from the soul, Arruh, so
Yeah.
you connect into your soul. And it was created in the year of Zayed, the year of Sheikh Zayed. It was my
Yes.
contribution to that year. And we launched in D3 the design days.
Design district, yes.
Yes, and then from there it went on its journey, and it went to different banks and universities and different corporate spaces that really needed, to introduce meditation and well-being, and also to bring in the elements of tradition and craftsmanship. Because if you remember, there was the sail, and it had that authentic, like the old wood.
The
Um,
wood.
it was an actual boat. Actually, it's recycled. So it touches on so many elements that I hold dear to me, such as sustainability, such as creating opportunities for carpenters and for people with different skill sets, and to keep that craftsmanship alive. But in doing so and embracing that sustainable way of living, you also have to be sustainable with yourself, So then you sit in the chair and you're meditating, you're bringing in that energy of balance. So that's when it was created, and it went all around the UAE. And from there, it developed, and I met my partner Selwa. Shout out to Selwa, and yeah, and she works a lot also with sustainability and with kids with autism. So we created a set of furniture that works with families with children with autism and different
Wow.
health concerns. Yeah.
That's awesome, and I know that the chair also comes with the sounds, the sounds of the waves, and it's so beautiful the way the sound therapy is also used. So it's like I think it kind of contributes to each and every one of your senses. If you just really sit back and allow the heightenedness of your senses, it really kind of takes you to a different zone altogether. It's about feel it to experience it, kind of a thing.
Yes, thank you. Back to leadership. When we put it in one of the corporate spaces, and it was in the park. They had an outdoors park. Usually, people would go there and smoke. So they had now an opportunity to take the lead and try something else. To sit and meditate and enjoy the sound, and to because just as the cigarette can give you that sensation of being, like letting go of your whatever it is that's bothering you, and kind of uh, breathing in theory, that's how it's supposed to give you
Yeah.
this freedom. But actually you had an option of sitting out and really breathing and meditating and experiencing that. So it was nice to see that happen too.
I'd, I'd heard in some research that people who smoke are not really addicted to the nicotine as much as they are addicted to the action, the action of drawing in and then letting it go. So that whole action of doing that is what kind of gives them the high, even more than the nicotine. So I'd heard that somewhere. I'm not sure how it is. I don't
Yeah.
smoke, so I wouldn't know. But yeah,
It's a lot of things. It's also they get addicted to the orange color from when it gets lit, the cigarette, the orange
yeah,
color. So that is addictive. The movement, taking it out, the whole thing is addictive. Or even now with people who vape and use other stuff, every gesture is an addiction. Even us with our phones, when we check Instagram, it's a whole series of things that we are addicted to. And I want to give you an example about Instagram. Uh,
yep.
I don't know if you noticed, I post the pictures in the grid form and small,
Yes, you do.
and a lot of people were like so bothered by it. All my friends, some of them unfollowed me. Even they were like, I can't. I don't like the small boxes. It gets on my nerves. But this was kind of a way of me taking the lead when it comes to social media, because with Instagram you can easily get obsessed with the number of likes, right? So even if you are disconnected from it, you've been practicing detachment, but automatically after 10 days of just checking your posts, you'll go like, oh, this post is doing good because it has more likes, or this one is doing whatever. I did not want to get into that like
Ah,
addictive. So
so
so I chose to cut the picture into smaller pieces. No one will like all of them, and anyways, it distracts me from the number that so you don't
wow.
get by that. Yeah, so you have to be very aware of how your brain works, especially now with the social media influx of information. I think we're much more susceptible to being led. So
Yeah.
it's your choice. Do you want to lead your life, or do you want to be led?
True that. And Yasin is definitely a fan. He says, Miss Mariam, I follow your tweets. It's really awesome, more positive, keep rocking. He wants to understand a little bit more about the yoga part in life. Could we yes.
Yes. Yoga is also a form of leadership, of course, because you're leading your body and leading your breath and leading your focus and concentration. It came into my life when I was in med school, when I had just graduated from school. So I was 16 at the time, and I had so many distractions, so many things were going on. And I found a lot of my ability to focus in my life and to be one with myself, especially to cope with the stressors, was on the mat, and that's when I started practicing it. Now I teach something called yoga cognitive behavioral therapy. So it combines mental health and the practices of Kundalini yoga, and it's really a good way to help you befriend your body, befriend your mind, befriend your emotions, and then from there take the lead. We do something called sadhana, again with the 5 a.m.
Yes.
So but you know, the thing is, your sadhana can start anytime in the day, and it could be whatever you want. It's just a practice.
Yeah.
So it's a practice that you are dedicating to yourself, and you're devoting to yourself. And it could be 5 minutes, or it could be 2 hours, or 2 hours and a half. It could be just you reading a verse, and that is yoga too. You know, so it's a
Hmm.
practice, and it's that consistent practice that develops your ability to trust yourself and to trust that you're going to show up for yourself.
True. So when you say trust yourself and the ability to trust that you're going to show up for yourself, the question that comes to my mind is, when we say everyone is a leader, how do you find that leader within you? Because as we earlier said, people think that leadership is for somebody else. It's not about them. So how do you discover that leader within?
First of all, by building a relationship with yourself, really seeing yourself for who you are beyond the facade. Because you can also imagine yourself to be a leader. And I don't want to,
No, we won't go there. We
we
won't
won't
blow a
go there.
trumpet. We won't blow
But
any trumpets, but let's move on.
so it's important to kind of really check in with yourself, and level with yourself. Again, with Biden's speech, he said, I promise you that I will be level with you. I will say the truth, and truth is a very important virtue. In Kundalini yoga, we say Satnam, truth is my identity. So you can't be truthful with other people before you are truthful with yourself, and that is not an easy thing to do. You need to really build that relationship with yourself, and you really need to be able to look at the darkness inside you and the light inside you, and to work with both, and to have enough kindness and compassion in your heart for yourself, to be able to work with what you have, and to make yourself stronger every day.
True. I love I love how while you talk, you suddenly you bloom into this smile. It's like you're fascinated by what you're saying, and then you have a smile that comes to your face.
It's your questions, they're bringing out the wisdom.
I'm happy to hear that. Thank you. So yes, it's all about trusting yourself. It's all about being truthful to yourself. But a lot of us find it difficult to be truthful about the negative things that might be within us, because as much as we like to harp about the good values, each one of us also has the bad ones within us, and they're natural. It's kind of like the yin and yang, right? So they're there. How do you kind of be truthful with both sides of you? Do the shadow work?
Yes. So first of all, you need to remove the judgments that you have built for yourself over time, just from growing up, being told what's right and wrong might have, depending on each person's personality, their upbringing, what they have to go through. Some people are harder on themselves than others, but you do build layers of self judgment and self criticism, and that can get in the way of you truly accepting and loving yourself. And if you don't love and accept yourself, your shadow self will not reveal itself to you because
Hmm.
it would rather be protected. So to honor that, in yourself and in others. um, so when you see someone going through darkness, or um, maybe expressing darkness, also to have enough wisdom to be able to see them as human, and to have both sides, the good and the bad. So for example, if we look at the past president again, he was talking about a lot of positive things that he did, and I'm sure to a lot of people he did contribute positively in their lives. So it's important for us to look at both the positive and the negative in others and in ourselves. Remember that when you condemn another, usually there's something within you that you, because everyone is a mirror of you. That's the
True,
first
true,
the
true.
first mantra in Kundalini yoga, is the other person is you.
Yep. And also having the understanding that you cannot recognize a vice in another person until you also have it.
Yeah.
It's
Or you go through it, which is
yeah,
kind of tricky. Yeah.
yeah. So you have to experience a vice to know its name, to be able to identify it a second time. So this similarly, how important is it to surround yourself with leaders, so that you discover the leader within you?
I think if you just have the ability to see the leader in every other person, instead of, like, I don't want to say, oh, all your friends need to be CEOs or whatever. No, because a leader could be anyone, from the janitor to your hairdresser to, it's a person who actually woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to take charge of my life today. So
Love it.
if you're able to see that in the other person, and the more you start, like, looking for it, you will see it.
Super. So, Dr. Mariam, I am very mindful of time and I know you've had a long day. Before we close, is there anything that you would like to share with the listeners who are watching us now and also on replay later on about leadership, about yourself, your journey, anything at all as a closing comment?
Yes. Okay.
Please.
So us having to wait did not come without. I came up with something good out of it.
Yes, please.
There's a poet that just recited a beautiful poem in the inauguration, and I'd
Yes.
like to. There's a quote that really stuck with me, and I feel I'd love to share it with
Yes,
everyone
please.
watching. So her name is Amanda Gorman. And she said, for there's always light if we are brave enough to see it. There's always light if we are brave enough to be it.
Wow.
So if you are brave enough to see the light in yourself and others, and if you're brave enough to be the light in yourself, for yourself and for others, then you'll be able to overcome anything, any darkness in yourself or in others.
And as you read that, I've got goosebumps because it's not just Amanda who said this today. It's you who said this to me several months, in fact, years ago, when we first met at Emirates Towers, the first time we met. And this was when I had come back from India after Papa's passing, and I was sitting with you saying, I don't think I can do anything with the Ministry of Happiness or the Happiness Carnival because I'm just in this space where I don't know what's going on. And you explained so beautifully to me about light, about energy, about healing, and about how he still stays with me. It took me a lot of time to understand that. It took me a lot of time to get to that space, but it was you who showed me that. So I respect you and
So
thank you. Thank you so much.
it's my honor to connect with you and with your family. That story, I remember how you were feeling, and I'm so glad to see you shine your light and share it with the world. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being that person who reminded me. And I do respect you, love you, and I am so grateful for your time today. So, for those of you, thank you. For those of you watching, we come to the close of the evening, but it was marvelous. And thank you so much, Dr. Mariam, for your time.
Thank you, Ruqayya. Inshallah, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Inshallah. Take care. Bye bye.